disaster for our business. I've just worked out that it's going to cost our business about £300,000 to implement the changes that she announced in her budget. She talked about invest to grow our economy, but I do not know how you can invest when you're faced with a cost of £300,000 overnight to try and find. It's a clear signal from the government that they don't want us to grow. Aspiration is dead. Female founders are not supported in this country, and our industry is just on its knees. Good luck trying to, get a beauty treatment or a haircut anytime soon in the UK, because all the businesses will be dead.
Well, definitely not a budget for small business and for pubs like mine. The national living wage going up and the national minimum wage going up. Not sure where that money's going to come from. Employer national insurance going up again. Where does that money come from when we're already struggling to break even? A little bit of a cut in beer duty, it's not enough, and they've extended the rate relief, but again, it's only going to be at 40%. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen when April comes.
I'm quite relieved, actually. A lot of the measures that I thought were going to be brought in haven't been. The CGT for my parents, because they're both in care and they've both got dementia, and their costs are around about £3,000 a week. So if I had to settle anything, then that would be make a big difference. And inheritance tax, again, the residence relief wasn't removed, and I think the inheritance tax thresholds aren't going to be frozen past 2029. So it's better news than I thought.
Well, I'm £300 short a month, and that's why I have to work. I'm working 2 days a week in Harrods. So obviously it's going to affect me very badly, because also I had cancer last year, and I feel very cold. I can't put too much heating on, so I have to use my hot water bottle, an electric blanket, and just put more little clothes as well. I feel very, very angry. I'm very disappointed, especially this thing done to me, with old people like me. Rather than give us the benefits of it, and they're taking the benefits away.
The budget this year will meet their requirements and give us a £15 minimum living wage, so that maybe I'll have a little bit in the pot to play with.
What a Labour budget this has been. I mean, they planned to do this all along, didn't they? And Keir Starmer was sitting there smiling on the front bench as Britain's poorest pensioners are being squeezed dry. Stamp duty surcharge for landlords has been increased from 3% to 5%. In fact, it affects everybody, not just landlords, everybody who's buying a second property or an investment property. So this is a kick in the teeth for landlords. The government's approach to landlords is now becoming more like a Monty Python sketch. There are endless hopes, rising taxes, and there's a litany of regulations which make you wonder if they're hoping to drive every last one of us to find something more respectable to do.
I am very pleased and relieved that the inheritance tax threshold hasn't decreased, which means that should I pass away because of the value of my estate, my children aren't going to be any worse off. And secondly, with regards to the capital gains tax for additional property sales, again, this has been held, and I'm pleasantly surprised, because this is a consideration for me as to when I decide whether or not to sell a property and reinvest that money elsewhere. Lastly, I am quite disappointed and really surprised, actually. I wasn't expecting the stamp duty, but that has increased on additional properties from 3% to 5%, an additional 5% of stamp duty. It's effectively a 66% increase on the amount of stamp duty paid for second property purchases.
Hearing the budget today as an independent shopkeeper, I think the new measures on employer national insurance seem to be in favour of small businesses. But the rates retail discount, whilst it's not been taken away, it's still going to be a 35% increase in cost to us, which is going to relate to thousands of pounds, and that's going to have a really big impact on my small business. So I don't think they're necessarily thinking about the impact of this for small retail businesses specifically, who are trying to revive our high streets, keep them vibrant and different, and representing lots of the wonderful small businesses that the UK has to offer.
My main takeaway from today's budget is how it's going to affect businesses. I think we all expected that there was going to be some change in the national insurance payment, but not to the extent that we've actually had. And my concern is for my clients, how they're going to afford this and the effect that it's going to have on their employees. The businesses are already stretched, they're already feeling the pinch, and this is just going to add to the burden. And the effects of this is going to filter down to all of the employees, and that will affect everybody's standard of living. People are going to think twice about who they employ. They're going to look at pay rises. They're not going to be as much as perhaps people would hope for.